LeBron James is a very intentional person. Obviously, I don't know him personally, but from everything we know about him, when a bunch of subliminal messages start piling up all within a week of free agency starting, you can bet pretty safely that this is a deliberate move from the King. Now, whether or not that means he's going to force his way out of LA or something, we can discuss that later on in this video. But I want to start off by just going down the list of things that LeBron has done all within just the last 5 or 6 days. So it starts with him opting into his $53 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. And you might think that shuts the door on any speculation, but this is LeBron James we're talking about. So it was only just the start. He opts into this contract, and Rich Paul right away releases this very cryptic statement saying things like, we're very appreciative of the partnership we've had with the Lakers ownership, and we consider the Lakers to be a critical part of LeBron's career, which that's all pretty standard stuff, right? There's nothing special there. But right before he said those things, Rich Paul said, "We understand the Lakers are building for the future, but LeBron values a realistic chance at winning it all." And that but is pretty big because it implies that LeBron might not feel like he's in the best position to win a title in LA anymore. And so following that statement, LeBron, he goes on this golfing trip in Akron, and he decides to post a cheeky little photo of him wearing a big welcome home hat, which, again, it might not sound like anything, but if you followed this man for his entire career, then you know that it's not. Over the next few days, we had reports from all over the place saying LeBron isn't happy in LA, and you can take all that with a grain of salt. I wouldn't put too much into any individual report, but all the while, LeBron just keeps stoking those flames. He's posting more things on his Instagram, signaling to Cleveland, like he reshared Allie Clifton's story of her wearing a LeBron Cavalier jersey, and he puts the caption, "proper attire," with the praying emoji. And so again, you could think that I should be wearing a tinfoil hat or all this stuff, but if you know, you know. We used to track Dan Gilbert's plane back in the day, and it turned out that we weren't the crazy ones after all. So this time around, the craziest thing is we don't even have to track planes anymore. He's just hanging out in the Cavs practice facility today. So he's working out with someone on the Cavs Summer League roster. But listen, man, when there's this much smoke coming from the LeBron camp, that means there's got to be some fire here. And so I want to go over a few things that we can take from everything that's happening. First, let's talk about what options does LeBron even have to leave the Lakers and come to Cleveland. Now, he could demand a trade, which would be a first for his career, but he could do it, and that would be, in my opinion, probably the most logical and realistic path forward, because the other option would be getting the Lakers to agree to a buyout, and unless the Lakers decide to pay him $53 million just to leave them stranded purely out of the kindness of their hearts, then it's not going to happen. It certainly could happen. I'm not counting anything out in this crazy league, but it would be a huge shock if it went down that way. So the most likely path is going to be a trade. And if you're trading a contract that big, then you can guarantee you're going to gut your roster trying to pull it off. So in the case of the Cavs, a deal for LeBron would probably feature Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, and Max Strus, with at least one other team needed to get involved in order to make this all work financially. And so if you did that, yes, you'd be gutting all of your depth and you'd be mortgaging your entire future on the oldest player in the NBA, which that's a move that at any other point in NBA history, you would never even consider making, trading all these players for the oldest guy in the league, except for right now. Today's the rare exception where the stars have literally aligned for this LeBron homecoming, right? The Eastern Conference is wide open. Boston's off the board, Indiana's off the board. Sure, other teams have gotten better, but this is the best chance you're going to have at getting out of the East. Donovan Mitchell is right in the middle of his prime. Evan Mobley just took a huge step forward last season, showing that he's ready to compete. And LeBron seemingly still has enough gas in the tank for one more run at this thing. And so even with that trade, you'd have LeBron, Mobley, and Mitchell on the same roster. That's a legit big three with DeAndre Hunter, Larry Nance Jr., Lonzo Ball, Sam Merrill, and whoever else the Cavs are able to add for the minimum. And with that roster, you could realistically win the title next season. That's it right there. You could win the championship with that group. And so Jackson Flickinger, my co-host, pointed out that because of the second apron and the repeater tax, the Cavs are probably going to have to blow this core up in the next 2 years anyways. And so if you're maximizing your chance at winning a title in this 2-year window that you have, making a move for LeBron James might make the most sense right now. I will say the counter to this is pretty obvious, right? LeBron, he's still the oldest player in the NBA at the end of the day. He could decline rapidly, he could get injured, and it would all be over just like that in a heartbeat. And so if you traded all of your chips for him, and then you get left with no path forward for rebuilding in the second era of Mobley's career, that would be a disaster. Because even if you stick with this core four and they don't advance in the playoffs, they continue to disappoint us, and then a year from now or 2 years from now, you decide to start trading everybody, at least in that case, you would get some pieces in return for Darius Garland, even Donovan Mitchell if you traded him, Jarrett Allen, whoever you move down the line, you'd be able to rebuild and retool around Evan Mobley. But if you trade for LeBron, you're not trading him again, right? You're not getting anything back 2 years from now for LeBron. So my feelings on this one are pretty simple. Am I at the front lines pushing for LeBron to come back to Cleveland? Not necessarily. I'm not going to lead the charge here or anything, but if I woke up and LeBron got traded back to the Cavs, I'd have to say I would think that I was still dreaming, okay? Because listen, man, if you're a Cavs fan who still has hate for LeBron James, you got to get that checked out. You got to let it go, man. You got to figure out what's going on with you. I don't know how you could still hate this man after everything. Even if you share all the same concerns that I have about going all in on this situation for the Cavs, like, how would you not be excited? How could you not get excited for this happening all over again? Another homecoming. So I don't know how you wouldn't. Obviously, the other thing here that I want to say is if LeBron simply managed to successfully get a buyout from the Lakers and then he signed with Cleveland for the minimum, then it's a home run deal. And it's probably the greatest minimum signing in the history of sports. There would be nothing to complain about. Again, I don't really see that happening. And to tell the truth, not to be the party pooper here, but I do think there's a much higher chance that all of this subliminal messaging that's happening right now, it could just be a classic LeBron move to put pressure on the Lakers and keep them aggressive and upgrading the team. It's also possible that LeBron is just a sicko and he just likes stirring NBA Twitter into a frenzy. The king might be a little bit of a drama queen, but that's okay. I still think it's funny. It's probably a little bit of both, right? But like I said at the top, when there's this much smoke, there has to be some fire, especially when it's LeBron James. And so I can safely say with everything that has happened this last week, it was intentional. Regardless of what the end goal is, this was a very deliberate move from LeBron. So anyways, if you enjoyed my video, then please drop a like and hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you watching. Leave me a comment on what you think about LeBron potentially coming home. Is this worth the risk for Cleveland, or should they just stay away from that big risk? I feel like when the universe sets you up with this beautiful story, like a movie-like sequence, then you probably shouldn't turn away from it. But at the same time, I understand all the concerns. So let me know in the comments, because I would really like to know what you think about this. And with all that being said, go Cavs.